Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, brought to you by Lay of the Land. I'm Rolene Marks, your host with today's top stories. As of 1 a.m. this morning, Israeli embassies and consulates around the world closed and went on strike. Israel has about 69 embassies around the world, and this morning, in coordination with the Foreign Ministry, the Defense Ministry, and the Histadrut Labour Federation, embassies and consulates close their doors. What is the reason for this, you ask? Well, it's quite simple. The Treasury or Finance Ministry had in the past put forward a proposal to retroactively reimburse envoys around the world for their expenses, and so far nothing has been delivered. And in fact, not only have funds not been delivered, but the Treasury said that they could make envoys pay for their own expenses. Now, the Foreign Ministry has their annual budget has been cut. They are the only major ministry that has seen their annual budget reduced rather than expanded. And diplomats have said on numerous occasions that their salaries are quite low and not enough to live on. So it doesn't remain clear as to how long the embassies will be closed for, but we will continue to watch this and bring you updates. Yesterday we spoke about how a Democratic presidential nominee, or hopeful rather, Bernie Sanders has said that should he be successful and get the Democratic nod to run against President Trump in the US elections next year, and should he be voted in as president, he would significantly cut the amount of military aid that goes to Israel and instead give this aid to Gaza. Well, yesterday he got a verbal smackdown from somebody who knows all too well about who runs the Gaza Strip, and that is the US's former ambassador to the United Nations, quite a phenomenal woman, Nikki Haley. She wrote on Facebook and on Twitter, she said, "Just when you thought Bernie Sanders couldn't get more radical, he once again wants to take money that is given to Israel to defend itself against terrorists and instead give it to Gaza, give it to Hamas, who are terrorists." So I think the lady has spoken, and Bernie, you have been warned. Or as the younger generation say, Bernie's been put on blast by Nikki Haley. And somebody who should also be put on blast is the new foreign minister in Sweden. The foreign minister, Ann Linde, said yesterday that while she absolutely unequivocally supports Israel's right to exist, and that Israel's right to exist is not even up for debate, she did say that she cannot equate BDS with anti-Semitism. Now, BDS have clearly stated on their website and on numerous occasions that their end game is the eradication of the state of Israel as the Jewish nation state. And we just want to remind the Swedish foreign minister that the German Bundestag voted earlier this year equating BDS with anti-Semitism, saying that BDS is an anti-Semitic movement, and it looks like Austria could follow the German example. And we think, given the history of anti-Semitism that these two countries share, and the knowledge of what it is like for Jews to be singled out for boycotts, and in this case, the Jewish state to be singled out for boycott, they know a thing or two more about what constitutes anti-Semitism. So those are the top stories making headlines today. Just remember that you can see this broadcast as well as our content on our Facebook page at the Lotl site. While you're there, like us, follow us, and invite your friends to like and follow us as well. Also, we update our content nearly on a daily basis. You can check it out on our website at www.layoftheland.online, www.layoftheland.online. You can read Sarah Ansbacher's very moving report about how she met a Muslim guy from Australia, and they discovered they had more in common than in difference. Also, don't forget that we have a YouTube channel as well. It's the Israel Brief. If you are there, subscribe, because the more of us who subscribe, the more of us are able to get Israel's side of the story out to the world. So I'm Rolene Marks with the Hump Day edition of the Israel Brief, and we'll chat again tomorrow.